So number one, the purpose of I want to kind of explain those mantras that I talked about earlier. Is the purpose of your life is to truly live it before you die. And basically this is just deciding that we get to decide what that life looks like. If we don't, somebody or something else does. And so I think we have to be very careful that we don't just buy into what everybody else and everything else says our life should look like, and we get real clear and real specific, and we spend specific time looking at that, deciding what that looks like, planning that, knowing that, and then taking the appropriate actions every day to make sure that we're moving closer to that life that we want instead of farther away from it. And so being that careful to know that minute by minute decisions is either moving us closer to that perfect life or moving us farther away, and being clear about that, and being on purpose about not letting that happen. And it also means deciding, I had a business psychotherapist before that would say, what's your 10s, your 50s, your 100s? And so being real clear about what those are. What are those moments when you just feel like, wow. For example, a 10 might be that first sip of Starbucks coffee that you get, or that moment you look out and see the sunrise or the sunset. It's those moments that are just those special little moments that you capture. And so those are what we want to have plenty of in our life. And then as we move on to the 50s, 50 might be something that we're lucky if it happens once a week. It might be, for me, a 50 is just that time I get to spend with my girlfriend exercising or going on a bike ride or taking a run together. Not necessarily, maybe I do it every day and maybe I do it 3 or 4 times a week, but it's not something, I get to do all the time, but it's just those special things that it in that moment that it's special, and those are called 50s. And then the 100s are things like maybe a trip with your family to Italy or to Hawaii, or maybe the ability to take someone in your family that couldn't afford to go if you didn't provide the means and the way for them to go. So those 100s are things that, we might be lucky if they happen once a year. But it's about just being discerning about what's important to make that truly perfect life. What are we doing on the spiritual side of our life? What are we doing on the physical side of our life? What are we doing on the financial side of our life? It's being very clear and specific about what that truly perfect life looks like, and not missing the mark or looking up and saying, I wish I had, or I wish I hadn't, those kind of things. And so that's what, when I say the purpose of life is to truly live before we die, because I think we can be here without truly living and have a lot of regrets and a lot of things we wish we'd done differently. So that's what I mean by the one mantra of the purpose of life is to truly live it before we die.